is my base, and right now it's basically a giant floating opportunity. Because amidst the apocalypse, we are going to create the ultimate sanctuary. Oh, no. Across the next 30 days, this mammoth cruiser will become the ultimate ocean base. And this is all part of a greater journey as we head towards creating our own civilization at the end of the world. Welcome to the wasteland. It was August, a new month in my survival adventure. We had guns, we had food, water, but things had begun to take a dark turn.
Oh, hey, I should probably tell you something. I saw a creature. It was 3 times the height of, a person.
Fucking wow.
No, I'm serious. I'm dead ass with you right now. If you see it, just run, okay?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I don't think you need to tell me that. I'm gonna run from that.
The weather was, as you can tell, torrential. The temperatures in this adventure had begun to drop. Such was the nature of our challenge. The insane hordes were now comprised of more sprinters and tough zombies than ever before. And on top of all that, I had many sleepless nights thinking about this creature, which I had spotted in the town. I only wish I knew now that I would have to face that thing again in the weeks to come. But that's a little later in this chapter. In the midst of this downpour, I was training my mechanic skills. Our goal now was to build the foundations of the village, the sanctuary for those who remained. So, skills and knowledge were one of the largest priorities for us in the days to come. The one upside of the horrid weather was that our farm was getting plenty of water. With our makeshift home now powered by a generator, keeping our produce fresh was helpful. But there were several survivors living with us in this cruiser. And in truth, even with all this produce, we would still face a huge calorie problem in the days to come. But hey, with all that terrible news out of the way, let me bring you up to speed. Over the last week, I have been grinding, looting, and shooting. One of my biggest achievements, these solar panels and battery bank. And while I can't stress enough how long this took me, countless days of dismantling wrecks, training electrical, searching, assembling, I've saved you all the trouble. It wasn't functional yet, but this setup was a vision for a truly sustainable future. On journeys like this, as you become more comfortable with the nature of your existence, the tasks extend and the challenge alleviates. Unfortunately, here this was not the case. The hordes still came every few days. There was consistent hordes, but far worse than that, a random chance on any given night that one could spawn. Now these hordes were manageable, but they were becoming increasingly less so, as you can tell by the mess that we had left behind. Without walls, we were just sacrificial lambs, counting down the days to our demise. As part of our goal to build the ultimate base, a compound was a must-have. But before any of that, I had to address the proverbial elephant in the room. And even before I get to that, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Factor, because this adventure we're on has genuinely taken hundreds of hours to record, edit, and put together. And having a flexible, stress-free option for my daily meals is a game changer for a hardcore survivor like myself. With Factor, I always have access to fresh, never frozen meals that are chef-crafted, dietitian-approved, and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. And as an extremely picky eater, having access to a weekly menu of 35 options means that I can take the stress out of meal planning and still enjoy an exceptional range of delicious meals. Factor even has gourmet meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon and shrimp, truffle butter, and more. Not only that, but Factor offers heaps of snack options like breakfast, smoothies, juices, and snacks that can definitely come in handy when I don't have the time to worry about all the hassle and mess that comes with cooking. Get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders using my link. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone. And for every single purchase you make, you help me keep the channel running so that I can make more content like this in the future. Thank you again to Factor for sponsoring this video. Now, for those who haven't been following our journey, we were actually surviving out here with one less survivor than we had started with. A few weeks back, I had pissed off our carpenter, Mr Brollow, and as an act of rebellion, he had left. That got us right where we are now. And I was starting to feel the weight of my decisions. With the carpenter, we could finally get this progress back on track, but we had no idea where Mr. Brollow had gone, or if he was still even alive out there. At least that was until day 28, while myself and 2 of my companions were on the hunt for a second generator.
Wait, there's a generator up there. Wait, there's an apartment up there.
Oh, there is a generator up there. That could be useful, actually.
Look,
You need a two-handed weapon, man. You haven't got enough reach with that.
I don't know. I have a lot of moogles right now. Being caught in the neck did a lot of me.
There's a sheet rope here.
Wow. Wait, there is?
Yeah.
Whoa, there is a sheet.
What the fuck?
Hello?
Run it up.
Whoa. What are you doing
Whoa.
here, man?
Whoa.
What are you doing here, man?
What?
I've been hunkering down up here, making a little living space for myself, because I'm not welcome on the cruise ship no more.
It's about survival. We're supposed to be working together, Brollow. Did you forget?
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes a man's got to go on his own, you know?
Okay. Listen, I screwed up, okay? I should have been nicer to you. I'm sorry. I don't know if you've been looking at what's going on around, but the weather's getting worse. You've got it nice out here, but when the zombies start to grow more powerful, they start to mutate. Things are gonna get nasty, and we're gonna need every pair of hands we can get.
And, I mean, hey, man, if I come back to that ship, am I gonna be, you know, is my work gonna go into you know, is it gonna be work, you know, is it gonna be like, you know, appreciated or anything, or like?
I'll appreciate you, Brollow. No one else will, I will.
Okay, fine. On one condition, okay?
What is it?
Give me a big old kissy.
So, even though the means were unorthodox at best, our core was reunited. I recognized that I had overstepped my bounds when I went off at Brollow. And if this village was going to survive and we were going to accomplish the goals of our base, I'd need to grow up and frankly stop being a big baby. As an added bonus, as a box sorting addict, Brollow was overjoyed to see the sights of the ship when he returned home.
Wow.
But in an adventure as expansive as this one, for every high, there's a low, and a new troubling fact was about to reveal itself.
Cheese? How sick are you, Cheese?
Cheese was feeling the effects of an infection. This felt like deja vu. Not 3 weeks ago, we were scrambling for a cure to save the life of one of our newest survivors, Peaches. But now the stakes were raised because we had cleared almost every zombie within the safe boundaries of the shipping port. And for the first time ever, we'd have to travel beyond the area altogether to seek war in search of another cure. A single Zombovirus cure was only ever found in the satchel of a single zombie variant, and those variants spawned once in every 500 or so zombies at best. The odds were certainly not in our favor, a fact that Cheese knew all too well.
Man, if you guys come back and I'm, you know, not really into it anymore, could you please bury me? Could you please put me in the ground by the crops, please?
Cheese, you're not gonna die, okay? I'm not gonna fail another person.
Hey,
Cheese, I'm not gonna
just-
fail another person, and that's the end of it. You hear me? We're coming back with that
okay.
cure.
Fortunately, our newly returned carpenter knew about a large horde of zombies due east of us, where he had spotted one of these variants earlier. We just had to hope that it'd still be there when we returned. And so the second journey for the cure had officially begun.
Yeah, I was running quite a bit. Oh, is this the checkpoint?
Yeah. Hold on.
There's one right there. There it is. There it is.
There,
Right in front.
there.
Right in front.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
lot of zombies,
It's
bro.
right there.
Guns?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. As soon as we get that thing, we leave, okay? Keep an eye behind us. Is this other one of me? Got it, got it.
Having traversed so far from the port, making it home in time was not as much as a guarantee as we would have liked, but we raced back as fast as we could, intent on saving our chef.
Here. On the ground. What did I tell you, Cheese? Did I tell you? You're not gonna die on me!
So much better.
You don't get out of this easy! You're gonna slave over that farm for the rest of time, you hear me?
Yes, sir, thank you.
And so for the most part, peace was restored, with a stern warning to all those who remained that cures were going to become more and more scarce, and keeping ourselves safe was the #1 priority. Now, almost 30 days into our adventure, it felt like it was finally time to get the party started, to enact our grand plan, the construction of the ultimate ocean base. Let me break down the play-by-play. As anyone who has experience in Project Zomboid would know, to build a base of any kind, you're gonna need some resources. And for us, we weren't exactly next door to a forest, but with a few cars in tow, we could traverse our way out to the coastal area next to the town and harvest the forest there for timber. That was the first piece of the puzzle, to help supply Brollow with enough logs to focus first on the compound of our new base. And this would have been an easy first piece had we not signed up for insane zombies, because just getting down to this area and getting the logs would be no small feat.
Here we are.
And after the coast was clear, pun intended, I took Peaches, our most inexperienced survivor, for a looting run of the warehouse down south, which we needed to do to fill up on ammo and supply, but had the added bonus of giving him some extra training in taking on the horde. In some regards, I had grown weary of the endless warfare, but watching Peaches, someone who had never stepped foot in the apocalypse before, defend himself with confidence and support me in the fight, it brought me a little bit of joy in all of this chaos. This rookie was finally starting to get the hang of surviving out here. How far he'd come from his 6 injuries in the first week of this journey. After literally 12 in-game hours, finally the warehouse was clear. All the while, Brollow had been collecting timber on the coast for our first project. We collected what ammunition we could from the warehouse, which would come in handy almost immediately, since the coastal area had become quite congested again since Brollow had left with his haul. And in truth, this was a pattern we repeated for several days. As the compound slowly became a reality, we would go on trips. I would defend Mr. Brollow, and together we'd collect timber to go towards extending our building efforts. We made a few various looting runs within the town, collecting spices and the like for our chef cheese to cook some more calorie-dense meals. We got ourselves into trouble on a frequent basis, but at this point in our adventure, we were looking firmly forward towards a future where far more survivors would arrive. But it's patterns and cycles like this that make you sloppy, relaxed, looking so far ahead that you often forget to look behind.
Oh, I just got bit.
I was lucky to escape this one with just a laceration from what is honestly one of the most unnecessary injuries I've ever suffered in this game, and I had no excuses. Eyes on the prize, people, and the prize is your life. My reaction would have been far worse had I not come across a cure in the last few weeks while clearing the town repeatedly. As time passed, the weather remained unpleasant. On day 35, we fought a horde from the inside of our brand new compound, and while it had a few breaches, it remained somewhat secure. A sign of a brighter future. So that was one goal out of the way. But in order to have the ultimate base, you need somewhere to store cars.
So I'm gonna place a garage down, do some repairs in there. I can use this space right and add like a bit of a pathway that'll go into the hole of the bottom layer of the ship, and then you can drive the cars in there and store.
Dude, you're making me so aroused right now, and I'm eating chips, and the chips aren't even making me aroused, but you're making me aroused.
And to be honest, Brollow's grand plan for that is one of the cooler things I've seen accomplished in Project Zomboid. The Grand Garage Plan, as it would come to be known between the group of us. We'd tear the insides of this cruiser out, hollowing the inside to a beautiful open space. All the while, we carve a bridge from the port to the walls of the cruiser, break a few walls, and voila, you have a spacious garage, defendable, secure, and space efficient. And so we forged a path forward, destroying walls, creating walkways, bridges, carving our garage out of space that was essentially dead weight to us. This was a process that took days and days, but it was something ambitious that the people of our village could rally towards. While Brollow and Peaches worked more towards the garage's progress, I took on what I guess you could call was a side quest. I mentioned earlier that I'd been working on a solar-powered setup for the ship, but there were still several issues with the execution. For one thing, I lacked the supplies to make more panels, so I salvaged what I could from the closest warehouse to the ship and built a few extra panels onto our bank. But even after all of that, a task that took me 2 whole days to accomplish, there was another glaring problem that was a little bit trickier to solve. To keep all the yapping about power within Project Zomboid nice and short, every single light in this boat was currently demanding power from this one little battery bank. And there's 2 ways you can solve this. Make another 20 solar panels, or my solution. I just smashed the switches, all of them, every single one. Because light is overrated anyway, right? We were trying to build a civilization out here. We didn't have time for that crap. That got us a lot closer to sustainable power, but it still wasn't enough. So I took the Jeep we'd found on day 1 and checked every local warehouse that I hadn't cleared out. And much to my dismay, not a single one had the solar panel parts I was after, except for one, because there was one warehouse right on the other side of this giant car park that we hadn't even touched. A warehouse that was pretty much surrounded by a gigantic zombie horde. And in all honesty, if we all dropped tools, headed over as a group with full magazines, over the course of a few days, we could probably clear a path inside. But I saw the weary brows of my group and the light in their eyes as they had begun to build the expansions to the base that made this place feel like home. Throwing them back in a war that would cost us a huge amount of ammunition, that was the kind of thing that could tear us apart once again. So that left me with one option. An option that would rely on all my survival skills I'd gathered up to this point. A stealth mission. One that would require the utmost care to accomplish. A single misstep would have been the end of me, but my confidence and a little bit of luck carried me through.
Hey, what's up?
I returned home with the remaining parts I needed to get the solar power up and running, and my trusty partners were beginning to make real headway with the garage. This place was starting to look defendable, reliable, and expansive. A boat full of opportunities for the future. Now, I promised Mr. Brollow I wouldn't look inside the ship until he was finished. It was the least I could do to give him the praise that I hadn't given him prior, the praise that he definitely deserved. So instead, I began the long journey of fulfilling my role in this team. From day 1, just like Mr. Brollow the carpenter, Fish Store the farmer, and Cheese the chef, I too had a role to play. I was to be the mechanic, skilled with repairing, constructing, and armoring our collection of vehicles for the apocalypse. And with more survivors out there, we'd need to have a fleet of vehicles fit for taking on the challenges to come. So, for a few long days, I tinkered and trained, working on expanding my mechanical knowledge until the whole group started to hit one glaring roadblock.
We're gonna have to go so far to get books. The problem is safety. Like, obviously the mall's the closest, but that's fucked.
And the towns are gonna be fucking impossible to navigate.
Pretty much every one of us was missing an essential book or recipe to help progress our plans. For Mr. Brollow, we needed metalworking books so that we could build a garage door and start installing some plumbing. I needed mechanics books and recipes to start armoring the cars. But we had checked every single nearby source of books in the shipping port, so we had to be a little bit creative. Just southeast of us was the large Giga Mart Mall. Not as big as the one in Louisville, but certainly big enough to have attracted hundreds, if not thousands of undead to it. Now, right now, with how many survivors we had, this mall itself was out of the question for now. But right across from the mall was a little strip of shops, and on occasion these shops were a lot more clear than the mall and its surrounding car park. If we got in and out quickly, we'd be able to load up every single book from this bookshop and get out of there without making too much noise. So we hatched a plan.
Those books are right outside the mall. It's very accessible from the street, right off the main road. We can just go straight there. It's a smaller bookstore, but it's a bookstore.
I suppose we could go there, and then if we have no luck, we can plan for the mall, but we're gonna have to take multiple cars. I guess I can try and repair whatever I can on the cars, because they're most of them are kind of up. Ready to go? Yeah, I do.
With all that in mind, it was time to expand our reaches into this world. And it was a journey that had its challenges, but its upsides too.
So there's zombies on it now?
Dude, I've seen a creature. Oh. Everything's fine. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Little stall out. Nothing to worry about. Holy f, bro. Oh my god, bro.
Not only were we able to completely empty out this bookstore, but we managed to nab a nearby box truck that had a heap of storage. And after quickly cleaning the place out, we split up into our 3 cars and headed home. Not that getting home was a guarantee.
Turn around.
But having explored this area in prior journeys, I was able to quickly find a detour that got us home in one piece.
Oh, fuck.
So, by day 45, after some rest and reading, I was back at it, building my mechanic skills up and repairing our cars in the process. And in addition to that, it was finally time for Mr. Brollow to show me what he'd been working on.
Alright, so this is kind of like what I've done so far. As you can see, this whole entire fucking space has been cleared out as well. I'm still doing more.
So far, this garage was exactly what we dreamed of. It was room to expand, but we could already fit several cars in here, and Mr. Brollow had installed storage for all the mechanics items. But I was missing one essential mechanics items that I hadn't needed yet, because I'd reached a skill level that meant I could finally remove wheels and the like. I just need to acquire a jack, which I hadn't seen so far in our journey, not that I'd been looking. Now this would be just a simple fetch job, but we hadn't visited the town in almost a week now, and this journey that I went on alone would probably be the most traumatic experience in all 45 days of this adventure so far.
Oh my god. 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 Oh. 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 Uh-oh.
And so, through adversity, stress, and sleepless nights, all the puzzle pieces had begun to fall into place. Except for one problem. Day 50 approached, and on day 50, a horde larger than anyone we'd ever faced by some margin grew closer. And if we could overcome it with our brand new ultimate base, we'd have proven ourselves a sanctuary for those who remain. And we could look forward to our next chapter, turning this ship into an ocean village for civilization to be reborn. But this was no small horde, so we tried to prepare as best we could over the coming days. After completing a large part of the garage, Brollow had moved his efforts upstairs to help Cheese with a new project inside the main structure on top of the boat. Brollow had started to work on turning this space into something resembling an actual kitchen, which is good because my weight was dropping so low that I was getting dangerously close to being emaciated. This made me worse at running, worse at jumping, worse at melee attacks, worse at pretty much everything. I started the process of moving all the cars inside our new garage, some for scrap, others for repair, but most of them needing work of some kind. I checked out the new kitchen one last time. Brollow had been hard at work, and it finally looked like a proper living and cooking space. This was the ocean base that we had dreamt of. It still needed a lot of work to become a home for the true civilization we intended, but it was worlds apart from the way it started. With all that being said, this was really only the beginning of our journey. It was only now that we felt like we could house more people than just our small team. Before facing the horde ahead, I hooked up my radio to the emergency broadcast frequency and broadcast a call of our own, to as far as it would reach. A simple call to the world beyond. To all the survivors who remain, who seek shelter, to those who have labored and lost, to those who have suffered and survived. We too have suffered. We too have lost. But we find ourselves in a safer place, a place that we can defend, that we can survive in. We can help you too. Travel to the coast and find us, whatever it takes. We will be the sanctuary, the village born when all else died.